5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Are you talking about for the prom that's coming up?
Yeah.
Who's BCC?
It's Whitman.
Nice. The Whitman Vikings, huh?
Are they the Vikings?
They are the Vikings.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
BCC Barons. My dad was BCC Baron.
Oh, really?
Anyway, we're live. Matt Markoff, welcome, my friend.
Well, thank you very much. It's good to be here.
We're just talking about out on the farm, right?
I feel like we talked so much since I've been here that we're done. We should have just recorded right when we opened the door.
Could have done a couple podcasts.
We could have done 3, and then you would have been good for at least 1 week.
Matt says I do too much, but we'll see.
You're a hardworking man.
I wanted to jump in and make a splash, then
it's a tidal wave, man. It's a tidal wave.
Maybe I'll cool off a little bit. Maybe.
The airwaves are just like full on with you guys.
Humming. So talk to me about the. So you're doing a haunt for a prom haunt.
So I have outdoor week with the Mater Dei school on Monday, but tomorrow night we have the Whitman High School coming out and doing prom at our haunted forest, which is crazy and a neat idea that we have these schools that are like, oh, we can't do anything inside, so they all call Calleva up and they're like, hey, can we come out to your place? And
I don't know what we do, just do something.
No,
for
totally.
us.
Well, listen, the first one we've already done a school. We did the Bullis school, and we're like, hey, we'll do a fireworks show. And we had like a huge fireworks show.
Great.
And all of our neighbors want to kill us. And so now we're like, okay, no more fireworks show. And so this next one, they're like, can we open up the haunted forest? And we're like, okay, let's do this. We're up for anything, when people say, you want to do it? We're like, we'll try it.
We'll find it. Yes is the answer. What's the question?
Yeah, exactly.
Hopefully we can find a way to do it.
Yeah, so we're going to be like, costumes, scaring people tomorrow night. And I'm like, I don't even know what to think of it.
It's awesome. So you've done one for Bullis, right?
One for Bullis, but it was an easy one.
When was that? Last week or recently?
It was last week.
Cool.
Well, it might have been 2 weeks ago.
Cool.
It's all blending together right now. It's like the season starts for spring, and I don't open my eyes until November. I mean, This is like when we are the busiest.
Yeah, the beginning of it. I mean, we are outdoor week. Mater Dei's outdoor week used to be in the fall, obviously.
Yeah.
But I'm glad we're getting it in.
Yeah, I'm actually impressed. You guys were probably the first school that's really committed to say, "Hey, we're going to do it."
Right.
We, this year we just stopped doing school programs altogether. What we did was, we started our own basically school. We did enrichment programs and gap year programs, and we just gave up on school programs because they couldn't go anywhere, they couldn't do anything. And the people that wanted their kids outside, they sent them to us, and they're like, "Hey, we're going to be in online schooling," and then 1 day a week, 2 day a week, 5 day a week. We want them out there with you guys. So it's quite fun. So, but now we're going, okay, now we're going to work with schools.
Getting back to what you've always done.
Back to the new normal.
Yeah.
So this is what our normal used to be. Maybe it's what it's going to continue to be. But
did you like working on little? I guess it's more personal. This past year, smaller groups. The kids that want, like you said, that want to be out there, were out there.
Yes.
You don't have to push Jimmy or whatever. Put on the Swiss seat and let's go climbing.
I will say that this summer, so what was really fun is typically, I'm not running programs.
Yeah.
None of us old farts are doing it. And this year we were all out there running programs, everybody. And it's like
you say all, you and your brothers.
Everybody.
Dad.
I'm going to tell you, to even tell you the story, we had, when we knew that we weren't probably running camp or doing anything, we had to figure out how we were going to make it as far as we could. And we went to a couple people and listen, this is what we're going to do, a pay cut. But we went to our mechanic, who's a huge fisherman. This guy, Steve, he's awesome. And I said, Steve, and we've kind of had his back over the years, and he's always had our back. But I was like, listen, you might want to, get furloughed, or you can run a camp this summer and then we can justify paying you. And he was like, whatever you guys need me to do, I'm all in. Which was I couldn't believe it, because I was like, he probably would make more money on unemployment right now with the pay, with the pay doc and stuff like that. And he ran a fishing program, and it was we were like, why have we had this guy in our shop mechanics for the last several years? He won instructor of the summer.
Oh, cool.
He was the best, and now it's all he wants to do is hey, I'm just running camp. So this summer he's going to run camp again. But we had all of our staff support staff running programs. And so it was awesome for all of us to be out there running programs. And then every kid that did it was like, it was definitely the best summer of like
all hands on deck in a way.
All
the behind the scenes people were you jump them out and put them out there, right?
Oh yeah, and it was so much fun.
No more behind the scenes.
Yeah, there's no more behind. They're like
back to basics.
I was talking to parents. They're like, "Well, we want to call to the office." I was like, "Just tell me what you want." So we were just like, it was actually neat because all of we changed up so much that all of the staff like had direct contact with the parents that were in their program because we didn't have like a bus service.
Yeah.
It was like we met all of the parents whose kids went to it. So I was like talking to the parents every day who were with me, and it was awesome. The kids we had a great time.
Personal.
Totally. Oh,
like doing. I mean, for the love of the thing,
definitely
for the love of what you created at Calleva.
Yeah. So, and we introduced new summer programs.
It's very unique. We talked earlier before about like there are some perks of this past year, and it's like allows for like maybe Calleva and some other people to tap into their roots and get back to why you started the thing.
Yeah.
And to like to reinvent, reinvigorate. In a weird way, So. Yeah,
aren't we all doing that? I mean, we're all like right now rethinking like what we want to do. I mean, it's kind of like, look at you're podcasting. It's pretty awesome. It's like we're rethinking which direction. It's been fun having these meetings with like, Calleva of just going, what do we want to do? What do we want Calleva to look like? And because it's different now than what we thought it would be. We're doing programming that we never imagined we would do. Like running proms, like for instance, like I'm like blown away that I'm going to be like DJing a prom.
Yeah. Spinning those records.
Yeah,
they like your music, right?
Here's a goodie from 1982. These guys will be looking at me.
They're going to learn to like it.
Exactly.
Or they're not going to be doing any more proms anymore.
No, this might be the swan song right now tonight. They're like, we can't dance this old man.
Yeah, right. It's but it's like what you're saying is like, all right, maybe that is the you're the new normal. You might be getting into proms. You might be doing this and that, or you might just go back to the way you used to do things.
Yeah, I mean, I think that we will get back to what we used to do, but we'll change them. I mean, we definitely have learned a lot. Like when we decided to run Calleva this summer, there was like only like 12 camps in Montgomery County that opened up, and we were one of the 12. And I mean, we were small. We were running at like 30% capacity. And I felt like we were running some of the best programs that we've run in years, and it was just, and a lot of it because there's, we had to change and we had to do things differently, and a lot of it again was like that connection that we had with parents and the kids, and so now you're like, how do we keep some of those things, those changes that we made because of COVID? How do we just keep that in our business and in the structure and in this, in our outreach program? So,
would you when you did those camps over the summer, were you nervous of getting shut down?
Yeah, all the time. I mean, but I will say, so we ran summer camp, we ran programs, we ran this enrichment program for like all school year. We ran a gap year program where kids stayed and lived at Calleva and 7 days a week, for multiple months. And we had in Calleva, we had like 5 families that like nobody at Calleva, but we had like a parent whose kid went to Calleva that got COVID. We never it never came into us, which was insane. Yeah. And we're like, how is this happening? And I kind of think, we kind of live in a good area and people are smart and safe, and we were outside. Yeah. And so we had a couple scares where like, oh, my sibling tested positive. We're like, oh man, what are we going to do? We're going to shut down all of camp. And it just never kind of trickled into Calleva, and we were very grateful, obviously.
Yeah, good for you. And during this off year, we talked earlier about trying to do a Calleva West, but now you do Calleva, West Virginia.
That's as far west as we need to go.
That's good.
Oh yeah. I mean, obviously, COVID killed like all of our, all the programs that we usually travel to. So like we have we have a kayaking school that goes to Mexico, all of these like big travel programs. We had a camp that went to Colorado, and we were excited about that, and excited about some of the activities out in Colorado, down in southern Colorado. It's such a beautiful. Have you ever been to Durango?
No.
It's like
I might have driven through it. I've driven from Santa Fe up to Denver multiple times.
Yeah, so not far from it. You probably went a little bit east of Durango, but it's like kind of near the Four Corners area.
Yeah.
So what's nice about it is you kind of have that high alpine mountains and green, but then like within like a couple hours you drop down, you have that like southwest desert. So it's like kind of a neat little area to be. So those programs obviously, died off, but yes, we were still able this year, exciting enough to expand into West Virginia. So, we're kind of the tri-state, I don't even call it tri-state, West Virginia, Virginia, and Maryland.
You use it like the DMV.
The DMV.
But like we throw West Virginia in there. DMV, WV.
Yeah. Well, what was interesting this year is that if you lived in D.C., you could not go to a Maryland camp. Did you know this? If you lived in Virginia, you could not go to a Maryland camp. But you could, if you lived in D.C., you could go to a camp in Virginia. So, we just opened up. Just opened up our Virginia campus.
Yeah.
And it was great. It was great. But this was the year that it was full because every one of our D.C. clientele, that's the only place they could go to.
Yeah.
Was the Virginia campus, which is awesome because the Virginia campus is, you've been there for Outdoor Week.
Absolutely.
It's unbelievable. It's like the access and the location. I mean, I have said to almost everybody I talk to, I think it's the most beautiful piece of property in the DMV, period.
Yeah. Down there on the water.
Oh, my goodness. Those guys, I'm blown away. I mean, I'm thinking about trying to figure out how to send my son to Madeira, even though it's an all-girls school, because the campus is phenomenal.
Stunning.
It's stunning.
Yeah.
It's it's like 400 acres. It's got like a mile and a half of riverfront on the Potomac, on the gorge, right at like some of the best kayaking. What's that?
Boarding school?
It's a boarding school, but they have day students too.
Yeah. But no boys yet.
No, not yet. But I mean,
maybe.
Wig. I mean, I hope
Get on in there.
I can only hope because it's like the most amazing campus. But it is actually fun working with working with their student body, and the women are so impressive, and staff are great. I mean, we actually it's a good
relationship.
It's great. It's really good. I mean, I keep on saying to them, I go, I would love to stay here, but I want to work with your students more because that's how it's. That's how it's awesome. It's like when you work, like, we work a lot with you guys. And so it's like, the staff, the kids, you have these like relationships.
Right.
And you're just like, this is only good things can come from this.
That's how great things are wrought or created with personal relationships.
Yeah. And it's like, they are very, it is difficult for them to get to change their ways of going, hey, get your kids out, get them with Calleva. Let's walk them down to the river because this is your property, and the kids don't even know it.
Do you have programs with Madeira?
We do. We definitely do. And they
have their own ropes thing?
No.
Or you kind of subsumed that because they used to have a course there.
They had the exact same thing. They had another outfitter that had ropes course there, and they had a relationship with them, a great relationship, and they did all the programming for the Madeira students. But they've done less and less over the years, and so now I've got to try to figure out how to get them to do more outdoor ed with us. And it's like kind of a slow process, and
we're still here. We're still here.
Yeah, we're still here.
If you pass it enough, you see them enough. It's just like subconsciously, click in.
Well, they did like a promotional.
It's not like you're prickly.
Yeah, we're very much.
You're okay with people.
I know. I'm always like, come on, let's go boating, let's go.
I'm friendly.
Well, it is weird though because when I go over there to work, I usually just drive to Anglers Inn and then paddle across the river and then hike up. So like I'll all the time. So like
it's easier.
Oh, why drive over the Beltway and Georgetown Pike? I just go right down to Anglers. I get on my boat. Sometimes I have like off like business meetings. Yeah. So, but I come home like sweaty and I'm nasty, and then people like see me walking up from there and they're like, where are you coming from? And I'm like, dude, it's the best commute is a paddle over, 10-minute paddle.
And you get a paddle in. You're on the water.
I know. That Potomac River is amazing.
It's.
Are you out there ever?
Here and there. Not as much as I should be.
Yeah, it is like the greatest resource in the DMV.
And it's right there.
And it's amazing.
20 minutes from here. If even.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, we'll work with like I feel like I haven't much done it with Mater Dei students, but I remember like we were working with like the Bullis kid, which is right on Falls Road.
Yep.
And like we would take the Bullis kids on the river, and they're like, where the hell are we? And I'm like,
in your backyard.
Exactly. I'm like, dude, we are like 10 minutes from your school. And they're like, this is insane. Like the climbing, the rafting, the kayaking.
It is, you forget. You know?
I know.
And then you look the other direction. It's like there's the capital of America, the free world.
I know.
You know, it's like right in our back. A lot of very rich area in that regard.
We're very fortunate
outdoors,
and lucky. Not
politics.
in like it's amazing. I do think that there's. I feel like I want to get into this like programming where we're bringing people in and we're doing outdoors and we're doing like a political tours and like, you know, going into the museums and like doing like a city and, you know, wild country like programming where
City
it's just
and Surf.
Yeah, City and Surf. That's a good one. I like that, City and Surf.
Mater Dei's had usually in the spring. Right now is usually our DC week.
Oh, I know.
You know
I think Tropia was down in DC yesterday.
Now they're doing. It was a full week. It was like 4 or 5 days in a row. 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th would all go deploy.
Yeah.
Into DC. Watch out.
Yeah, you can't use that word anymore. You can't deploy into DC. I don't trust that. Right now, I'm already nervous.
Airdrop.
I don't know if I can be on this podcast.
Parachute in. And go to all these museums and monuments and tours and everything like that. I love that. I love that week. Now they're doing like kind of like I think days like they're gonna go one-offs here and there.
It is if you're a school in the DC area and you're not taking advantage of all these museums and art, the history, shame on them. You know, it's like ridiculous. I have this thing like when my like friends and family come to visit, we go to Capitol Hill. My buddy has a restaurant up there. We park behind his place, so free parking, right?
What's the restaurant?
Good Stuff Eatery or We the Pizza.
Okay, it's your buddy Spike.
Yeah. And so then we like right up there. We rent those scooters.
Those are so fun,
right? And that's the way to do it. And then you scooter down. Scooter down Capitol Hill, and you do the whole, you do the whole mall, and it's amazing. And then you go up to and then you go up like 8th Street, and and that's usually right around where the scooters die, and then you just like
you get the scooters for like $7.
I think it ends up costing us like almost like $30-$40 for the day, but it's like the best. And when you go in the national like museums and you leave them in the mall, nobody can take them. You can put them on pause, and nobody will take it. And everybody wants it, but you can't leave them in the mall because it's illegal because it's like a private business inside the park system, and but it is it's like that's all you should do when people come to visit.
I agree.
You do the scooter thing. You go in. I mean, I've wiped out with my kids a couple times, made them cry.
Off the scooter.
Yeah, because like I'm like too cheap to like get them their own scooter. I'm like jump on with that.
Yeah.
Then everybody's like, what kind of parenting is going on here?
Yeah. But that's speaking truth right there. or go play like a volleyball on like the sand courts.
Yeah.
It's so sad now. I was driving to Reagan Airport, and I go down there past those courts and everything, and everything's like partitioned off.
I know.
Cannot play outdoor sand volleyball, God forbid.
Yeah, it's right now, like you even saying that just like kind of gets my heart to sink. Even though drive down River Road, you'll get Norwood School. All those kids are out playing soccer because those fields are right on the road.
Yeah.
So they're all masked up, but they're all outside playing, and I'm like, man, this is what. I mean, I will tell you that this is what the country needs is to get outdoors, and that's what the country has been doing. The outdoor industry, for the most part, has been doing very well. I mean, there is like our kayaking school. Our kayaking school has been like this. We love it. We put a lot of energy in it, but it's like kind of got this size that it's been out for several years, and this year this was the year for the kayaking school. Everybody wanted to get out. Everybody wanted to kayak. Everybody wanted to learn how to kayak. And you felt safe out there on a boat.
Something about, because you're naturally separated. You can't go up and hug the guy.
Totally. You got to paddle. You almost paddle. And here's the best
Built-in
part
separation.
is if you're in the water, you're not wearing a mask because you don't want to.
It's a health hazard.
You fall it's a health hazard. Exactly.
It'll suffocate you.
So I'm like walking downtown DC. I should just carry a kayak. I'm going boating.
I got a kayak, all right? Yeah.
No, but it's no, I don't want to do that. But I do want to be on the river quite a bit and be able to breathe in that water and breathe in that air.
Of all the things, like I could see that would be a great recreation for what we dealt with for the past year.
Yeah, where were you, boss?
I was.
You weren't kayaking.
No, I wasn't kayaking.
We have this. I have a group of old guys. We call it ourselves, and we meet Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7:00. right? And we paddle, and all winter, and so it's like freezing. It's like 17 degrees.
You just started it, or has it always been a thing?
No, it's like there's just a group of boaters that are like old school. We all kind of grew up together. We were all old campers together. Like kind of, my family's been like in the kayaking business from the get-go. Like the reason the U.S. canoe and kayaking team is in D.C. is because my grandmother. I don't know if you knew that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so like that's why like when you drive around, you see like it's a little bit weird and just weird.
Yeah.
Like I was on the river. I was paddling the upper Yacht with a group of people, and it was like Calleva people, friends, other people, but there was like, I'm maybe not even joking you, 10 people related, and it's like a good river, and it's like all of these people are family, and we've been in the paddling industry from the beginning, and that happened. Like my uncle, I don't even know, like one of my uncles was the first to ever go off Great Falls. So he is like, he is the pioneer. In fact, I was on this river in West Virginia this weekend, and it's called the LBS, the Lower Big Sandy. And I walk up, and this guy goes to me, and like I'm looking at the group, and my uncle, who's 75 years old.
Is he Chief's brother?
No, he's my mom's brother.
Okay.
And at 74, he ran like a 80-foot waterfall in Mexico. I mean, it's insane. Like he's insane, amazing, right? But I walk up, and one of the clients go, "That's Tom McEwen in the yellow Corsica," and I'm like, well, unfortunately, he's my uncle, But it's like it's funny. Like in the paddling world, they're like, "Hey, you know who that is, don't you?" And I'm like, "Yeah, we do."
Yeah, I know him all right.
Yeah, and
we're kind of related.
Yeah, but and he's like, I actually bought him breakfast that morning. He's like, "Oh, I owe you money." I was like, "No, you owe me a rescue when I like die on this river. You better come and drag my body out of this rapid." But and then my other uncle, like in the 70s. Yeah. You won a bronze medal in the Olympics, which was like unheard of for an American to paddle. So we're like, the paddling community is a little, it's like this, we're all kind of related, and there's a lot of history. So there's a group of old guys, and we meet in the morning, and it's, all we do is bust each other. It's a tough crew to get in there. It's very...
You said 7 in the morning?
Yeah, 7 in the morning. Yeah. And you're kind of an old guy. I see a lot of gray hair, so you could, at least you got hair, but... you could join the crew, but there's some shaming that goes on, and
I believe it.
I'm probably the biggest talker, only because I'm probably the worst kayaker of the bunch. So, these guys. I mean, it's just all you do is paddle upriver. It's all we do. We paddle as high up the Potomac as you can get, and you're dying
for a workout.
For a workout. Oh my gosh, it's like death. I get home, I can't even like lift my toast or coffee cup. It's ridiculous. My arms are so shot at the end of the day.
So you guys get there Tuesday. You did it all
winter.
The winter.
All winter, yeah. Tuesdays and Thursdays. It's great group. In fact, all of those boys, a lot of those boys are all paddling the middle fork of the Salmon River, which is like the most amazing river ever in the Frank Church Wilderness in Idaho. And they're gone right now. And I was supposed to go, but I got prom. I'm like, I was like invited, and it's like the greatest group of like all like the
Your
old
boys,
guys.
Man.
I wanted to go so badly. I was like just trying to figure out how to make it work. And then Calleva's like busy, and all staff, all hands on deck, and I'm like, I can't go. Not doing it. You
can't tell all staff to be hands on deck, and you're out there.
I know.
Playing.
I know. I mean, that's the one thing I love about Calleva. I think that you kind of work in a similar where it's like everybody's in. We're all in. Like, the toilet needs to be cleaned. I'm cleaning the toilet. I'm not.
Absolutely.
We're doing it all. We're just trying to work and make it work for everybody.
The best way to do it, the best way to have fun and to have a successful thing is just like you do it all. You're on the front line, you're on the back line, you're in the middle.
Yeah.
Wherever they need you.
Yeah. I mean, Calleva, we're workers. That's what we like to do. I mean, I kind of always like, we never get anything done. And then it's like, school teachers that come back year after year, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you did this. And so that like kind of is like, oh, we did get something done. Yeah. But in my eyes, I'm like, oh, we don't get anything done. We're so behind. We got work to do.
Yeah.
We got to build something.
Exactly right. You build it, they will come. So, what's on tap next week for Mater Dei?
I mean,
I don't want to give away too many surprises. Will there be 4 tribes?
Oh, of course there's 4 tribes.
Come on.
Well, this is like very big. Is Mater Dei just had a change of logo.
Interesting.
Yes, they got rid of the bell.
Okay.
The bell was deemed not good enough and not as exciting, and so Maritide.
The victory bell?
Yeah, the victory bell is now they're gonna lose for sure.
Now they're cursed.
Yeah, they're cursed. So you go. We always have these
meeting
meetings
with-
at Potomac Pizza where you go, okay, what do we do? And these are like some of my favorite meetings with any of the school programs because I do feel like it's. I've never really had a school so much that's like willing to do anything. Like we kind of like dream up some crazy stuff, and you guys are like, well, let's give it a shot,
Yeah.
And I'm always like kind of amazed, and then I'm like, what the heck did I get myself into?
Right.
And so I have in my notes. My notes are so funny from these meetings because they're like. They're like the most ridiculous notes. They're like, need more Mountain House dinners. And I'm like, this is the worst food ever. But it's like, no, this is what we want. And, we want like more survival. And I'm like, man, okay. So
more survival.
Yeah. So we, should I give away the first day?
You can tease it a little bit.
So like there is definitely, they will be building their own shelter and everything for living because nobody wants to be in tents. So we're all outside, So they're going to be building shelters, living in these shelters, and there's a pretty impressive challenge in order to get your shelter stuff. So just to get your stuff,
to get their materials,
which also contains their food for the first day, for the first complete day, because they'll be out making their shelters, building their shelters, and cooking all their own food. And if it gets wet, it gets wet. You know what I'm saying?
So why no tents? Nobody wants to be in tents. You said?
Yeah, COVID.
Okay.
Yeah, what do you get? We'll have
shelters. I guess more open air. Or
yeah,
like
totally.
Okay.
No walls.
It's
just a roof. Open airs. I think that's what
airflow.
But we will. I kind of was like, man, Mater Dei is getting weak because they were like, you're going to bring tents just in case. And I was like, yes, I guess so. I wasn't. In my mind, I was like, no, I'm not.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. But then I was like, okay.
Note to self.
Yeah. So, but we this summer, we will have camp in tents, but we'll put 2 kids to a tent, flipped. What do you say, head to toe or whatever like that. So they'll be 6 feet apart.
Also, if you're their family or their good friends.
Yes, so we have a lot of
keep the streets together.
Yeah,
we're on the same block.
We'll do the same thing at camp. We'll have obviously, our group sizes are a lot smaller. So like last year we operated like 30% capacity. This year we're going to operate at 60% capacity, and 60% might be the new norm for us.
It's good. If it's working, if you got. Everyone's getting paid, and everyone's happy. And sometimes less is more. That's what you're talking about with the Haunted Forest, like scaling down. Selling a certain amount of tickets.
Yeah. Well, this year, you came, right?
I was there.
Did you like it or no? You have fun?
Loved it.
Yeah, you did.
Absolutely, it was phenomenal.
Did you? I don't even know if you walked through.
Good as any other year, if not better.
Yeah, it was definitely to me. It was a long trail.
Through.
You did walk through.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't remember. Listen, this is what I want to know. Are you running a camp this summer?
There were a bunch of kids.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, that's what I thought. I rember chatting with you. I didn't know if the kids were walking through.
Threw them all in the van, open all the windows.
Yeah.
Keep the mask on.
Yeah.
Going to the forest.
I think you should just
Thriller.
cut the roof off of the van and just make it a convertible.
I've thought about it.
And then it's just like, guys, open air.
Roller coaster.
Yeah, totally.
Put your hands up in the air. Shoot your seatbelt. You're buckled in.
But. You go to West Virginia and they have those buses, where they chop off the back of the buses. Oh, yeah. It's like, for like raft guides, they throw the rafts all in the back of the bus and they chop them off. And I'm like, dude, this would be so awesome. I just don't know that, like, down River Road, Montgomery County,
you gotta get one of those. You have a massive fleet.
Yeah, things that that work in West Virginia don't necessarily work here.
Isn't that amazing? Same country,
yeah.
Just because of a different state, only a couple hours away.
Yeah, but isn't that neat though?
A lot more.
I like that.
It's incredible.
I love that there's.
It's incredible.
I like statehood. I like that there's local jurisdictions, local governments that can decide what's important for them.
Yeah.
I think it's great.
It's wonderful.
Right now
speaks the same language. Which is helpful.
Yeah, West Virginia is definitely an interesting area, but very, very. Right now, I've been doing a lot of work down there. But amazing people, really amazing people.
Yeah, nice people.
Yeah.
The trough. So the trough, that's the project that you got into over this past year, right?
Yeah. I mean, I was hoping that you would have come down, and so you could be explaining it, and I don't have to do any of the talking.
Ooh.
Yeah, come on. I know canoe trip is in your future. Come on.
Once you get that cabin built on top of that,
you're waiting for the glamping?
Yeah, I'm waiting for the glamping.
I don't believe that. You have never.
I'll come down.
Oh my goodness. Well, I do know that you like you like a cot.
I like some creature comforts.
You like something.
The last couple of years, I slept in my van.
Really?
Yeah.
I do not like that.
Took the van there.
Yeah.
Took out all the seats.
Yeah.
Put a couple of pads down. It was awesome.
No, man. I think that you gotta sleep outside.
I hear you.
You gotta breathe in that bad air.
Uh-huh.
All the smells staying in there.
Uh-huh.
So, and I know you always are running with those big old army boots on, so you're probably sweating it up, and it's all sweaty, nasty in that van. So, you gotta go on the roof of the van. That's not a bad place.
Not a bad place at all.
Why are you in the van?
Why was
What's
I?
your theory of sleeping inside the van?
You used to live in a van.
I used to live it. Well, it was like the VW van, and that was like. I mean, I was in college, but yeah. I mean, I think that, and I mean, I still do. Like, I obviously do a lot. My family, we do a lot of road trips.
Yeah.
But when my boy Steve-O just bought a van, and I was like, "Are you gonna deck this out?" And he was like, "No, man, because I don't want my kids sleeping in the van. I want them camping out." And I'm like, "Hey, listen, that's what we do. Like, when we pull in somewhere in the van, I kick them out and I go, set up your tent, get in your tent." Yeah. But obviously, the van is convenient when you're in the middle of a place where you shouldn't be camping, and you can't just set up a tent. So then everybody's sleeping in the van.
Staying inside tonight.
Yeah, lock the car. We're staying in.
We're going on vacation.
Yeah.
On a vacation.
Yes, we're on a vacation in this rest stop in the middle of Missouri. Dad, this stinks.
Oh my God. It's all right. We'll just lock the doors.
Yeah, don't worry about it. No.
Start counting sheep.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, when you do road trips, you have some good campsites, some good not. But when you're in the van, you should be camping outside.
I hear you.
I don't understand the draw to camp inside the van when you're in the wilderness.
It doesn't totally blow my hair back to sleep outside.
I know, but I mean, the air is better. Let's just say the air is better, which it definitely is.
Oh, outside air?
Yeah.
Like
the van.
Well, I had the windows down. And,
I know, but still. And then it's like when that sun comes, you get that heat. It kind of bakes all of the smells that you have in a van.
I'm up early before the sun.
I know, but if you were outside, the sun comes up, Garish is up running with the combat boots.
When the sun comes up.
When the sun
better
comes
be
up.
running.
Sun's up, guns up. So, yeah, it's I obviously I love the van. I do too. I'm wondering what you're doing, what you're thinking.
I would love to just take all those seats, put a mattress in the back, and just road trip.
You gotta follow on Instagram. There's these van life people.
Man.
Dude, these people make the most amazing vans.
Total.
It is, and I love going on the road. I'm any chance I get.
Yeah.
We just went skiing out west, and I drove out west.
Yeah.
I mean, I packed up the van. I'm like, we're going. I mean, it's convenient because my wife's family lives in Kansas City, and I'm always okay, now it's an excuse for us to stop and say hi.
Get to Kansas City, yeah.
Yeah, and then keep on moving.
And then keep going.
Yeah.
You went this past winter?
Yeah, I just went over. I think I just went over spring break, right before spring break.
You should see. I already gave you one assignment of Sound of Metal. It's an incredible movie.
Yeah.
About a drummer who goes deaf. But Nomadland.
You know what?
Won Best Picture, and it's all about
what? Somebody was telling me
life.
about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta see that.
You should see it. It's up your alley. It's on Hulu.
Are you ready to?
I'm to swing that way.
You should do a road trip. You got the van.
I know. It's time.
Are you gonna run a camp this summer?
Maybe. Undecided.
I feel like you sitting there on that side of the desk, and you get to ask all these questions. I mean, I feel like there's a lot of questions that really need to be directed at you. I mean, I'm serious, because I'm like, what's? You got the van, you got a tree house in the back. I'm looking at these things.
Mm-hmm.
I've given you some climbing holds. Come on, we gotta get out there.
Mm-hmm.
So
you're not wrong. Sounds like an invitation.
It is an invitation. I mean, really, I would, I don't know what your plans are, but this West Virginia property, we're going to be doing a lot of fun stuff out there, and that's a lot of work, and it's kind of a fun little trip to go down there for a couple days and work. And you're not scared of hard work, right?
No.
So, but you're a family man now. It's a little different right now.
The whole gang.
That's when my kids are young, I feel like there's a gap of like my outdoor pursuits, like and my waistline both like suffered. Those young years of kids where I'm just like trying to make it through alive.
Yeah.
But now my kids are all like I can like do anything with them.
Now,
Now
you're back to it.
Oh, it's
Once
nice.
you've gotten through it, you're back to it.
Yeah, but there's those hard years of the young years where you're like, come on, kids.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
So
we got things to do here. Come
yeah.
on. No,
You are.
You're gonna do it with me. Let's go.
Yeah, and you got goldfish to take care of too. So
Don't bring that up. The girls come here. You saw Dorothy, and then the other two girls are gonna come here, and they're going, not gonna be.
What happened? What's the fish's name?
Afro.
Afro is chilling right
taking
now.
A nap, right?
Yeah, he's taking a nap.
I sleep on my side too. Okay?
Well, that's why you have to sleep in a van because on a hammock you can't side sleep. So
that's that. There. That's my answer.
That's your answer.
I'm
a side sleeper.
Yeah,
I need to sleep in a van. I'm just creating excuses for you. So
good stuff, man. I'm excited for you guys to get back at the program next week. 7th and 8th grade, Mater Dei.
Yeah.
You're gonna bring them together. You're gonna.
I don't think we're bringing them together at all. I think that they're keeping everybody separate. So
that's the way. That's the way they've been doing it all year.
Oh, 7th and 8th grade have not mixed at school.
I don't think much at all outside of maybe some athletics in the spring, but they kept every first grade, second grade, third grade all as a pack.
I mean, it's interesting being like right now. I've had I have a high school student, a middle school student, and an elementary school student.
You get the whole.
I've got the whole gamut right
Yeah.
now, and like, man, school. Like right now, I would love to rethink school completely because that's what we just said. Like everybody's rethinking everything. I'm like, I don't know what I want to do with my kids in school. Like I'm actually trying to get my oldest. I'm like, just take your GED, graduate early, and do something else.
Yeah.
And last year I tried to get him to go to kayaking school. I tried to get him to go to sailing school. I tried to get him. I was like, just don't. And he didn't want to go because of his friends.
This last year, like your gap year?
No, this last year he was a junior, and it was just like he did this. It's just this week. This whole school year has just been a failure for us.
The school year we're in, we're still.
Yeah, they're still in right now. It's just like
is he in school?
Yeah, he's online, but it's complete. It's
He's
just been a
online
mess
all year.
Well, I mean, he's in public school, and how they're doing it, it's just not working. It's just not working at all. And he could go to school on Thursday and Friday right now, but like he would go to school and the teacher's not there. The teacher's on a Zoom class, so they would just show up at school and he would look at his computer at school. And so we're like, well, why do that? So he's completely at home, and like all it is like a fight of like getting him to get his homework done or like caught up in classes, and he just is not motivated. And to tell you the truth, and this is another like where I'm like failing as a parent. I'm just like, I'm not motivated either.
It's hard. Hard to get behind something you don't believe in.
I'm like, this school, I don't want to do any of this. Let's go out and do something. And that's why I've been like, let's go, let's leave. And I'm like, with my wife, I'm always like, hey, they're online. We could be anywhere right now. Like, why do we have to be right here, sitting at home? And she's going crazy. Like, all 3 computers going, and I've got like. We live in an old house, so, and I'm pretty, I don't like a lot of social media. I don't like, being connected all the time. So all of the walls in my house are stone. Every wall in my house is 17 inches of stone. Like even the inside walls, it's a little out of control.
17 inches thick.
17 inches thick. Yeah, it's insane, right? It's like
a castle.
Yeah, I mean the house is built like in 1790, early 8. I mean it's like. Ancient, right? It's crazy. So like if I have to put a new
I've been there once.
If I have to put, you been to you were at my old house.
Yeah, maybe.
But maybe you went to this one. I don't know.
It's about 10 years ago, maybe.
Oh yeah, that's a different house. Yeah. So so the Wi-Fi only works on one side of our house, which is like the parents, like the kids in their side of the house. There's no Wi-Fi. They got nothing.
Intentionally.
Yeah, intentionally. Totally. I'm like, you kid, and like, I mean,
blame it on the foundation.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And but for school, I've got a kid in my bedroom that comes in. I have one kid that goes. My daughter Lulu is in my closet, and we have a desk in my closet because she get internet there. And then my youngest Charlie is like in the on that side downstairs. But like I'm like everybody's on this end of the house trying to get their Wi-Fi, trying to get into classes.
Oh my god.
Nobody like. Like high school, middle school, they don't require them to have their cameras on. So it's all like the teachers are looking at like black screens. And I'm like,
how do you get anything done?
I'm like,
how do you communicate anything?
I need to like see people's faces, you know.
Yeah.
I need to like see their mouths. I need to see I need to like communicate with them, and look at them. And I'm like, if I were a teacher, I'd be like, get your damn I guess they can't do it, but I like put the camera on so I can see you, so I can connect with you. Yeah. And like my youngest, he probably did the best in school, because his teacher was like a first-year teacher, did an amazing job. But they're also everybody they also had the videos on.
Yeah.
So, and which was great until when they went back into classes. So now he's got half this class in, half the class out. So he has to wear a mask, and so now he's lost that ability to kind of see his teacher's face and expressions, and the teachers got to teach to the students that are in, and then he's got to teach to half the class that's on computers.
Yeah.
I'm so confused.
Let's get to summer.
You know what it is? I'm just
Let's get to summer.
I'm like camp. It's a new school.
Amen.
I'm like, okay, listen, we're gonna go kayaking today, but we're gonna like do a couple math equations.
Yeah, exactly. I'm on board with that. Yeah. I'll bring my math books.
I got my flashcards.
I'm your guy. I'll teach you a little history.
Yeah, it's definitely. I mean, that's well, I mean, obviously, I'm in the business of experiential ed, so I'm a big fan of that. And we did that essentially for the GAPS, the GAP students this year. We were like, listen, we're going to give you hands-on experiences. We're going to educate you, and you're going to learn, a little bit about life and getting around, and learn how to cook, learn how to build. That was
popular, huh?
It wasn't as popular as I thought, but it was like more powerful and better than I could ever have imagined. Mm-hmm. Like I was like, why did I not sign my kid up for this?
Yeah.
Even though he needs to graduate high school. Yeah. And this was just for high school graduates.
Yeah.
It went so well. The students that did it, I think it was a life-changing experience for them. Yeah. I mean, I read a couple people, students wrote some stuff, and it was. They
stay on the farm?
They stay, you've been into like our main admin offices. Yeah. And then the upstairs are all like apartments for like international staff and stuff like that. So we used that, and that was like the dorm rooms.
Yeah.
And they lived above our office, and they acted this whole year as a unit. So they didn't, they were like, I can't even think of the word right now, but they were a cohort that could do everything together. Like we had a pod, and they did like they had like classes for the first like 4 weeks. They just had classes, and it was like learning how to cook, learning how to weld, learning how to build, learning how to do outdoor stuff. So they went kayaking, they went climbing, they went mountain biking, they went caving. They did all those activities, but it wasn't really intensive outdoor. It was more like just like a life experiences. And all of our staff that don't normally run like programs, like our mechanic had him for a day, our welder had him for a day, our the guy that builds all of our our set pieces at the Haunted Forest had him for a day, Flash in our kitchen had him for a day, and then then they rotated through like adventure sports and activities like that. And so they did all of this, and then they worked on a group project where they were like, hey, we have a combined goal we're all going to work on, and it was building a tiny house. And we brought in like professional like plumbers and electricians and other people to teach them, and they built a tiny house.
What's a tiny house?
A tiny
it's
house.
A small house.
It's a small house. It's like it's like the van life movement of people that just like, I don't need a big house. I don't want to spend all my life on a huge
this amount of space.
I mean, it's bigger than this, but yeah, a tiny house could easily be this amount of space. Yeah. And people put them in the back of their property. I think that there's probably a lot of restrictions. I don't know what we're going to do with this tiny house. Originally, I was like, let's auction this thing off. Or maybe we'll move it down to the West Virginia property. You can do anything down there.
Yeah, you're right.
And so they,
mini houses.
And then they all were like, I want to work on a project for myself now. And they all like picked a project and did their own personal project and had days to do that. And then they did like an adventure activity, like the first semester they went backpacking down in Texas, and so they road tripped all the way down there. Get back, it's all the same: outdoors, road trip, tiny houses, van life.
Yeah,
I need to go to the city.
Yeah,
this is ridiculous. I feel like very one-dimensional right now.
Oh no, you're getting excited. You're jumping out of the chair. I mean, it's wonderful. Is it the GAP program something that you keep going in the future?
So I think
if there's demand for it, I guess.
If there's, I mean, we met about this the other day with like our leadership team, and it is a hard one of going. It's a hard one because it worked out very well not having school programs. Yeah. Since everybody was in COVID, we didn't have school programs, so it worked out that like some of our staff could just focus in on the GAP program, and so can school programs and the GAP live side by side? Maybe. Mm-hmm. We actually, because Calleva is a little bit crazy, we've actually expanded on Gap Year program, and we added a new Gap semester. And my cousin makes movies. In fact, I'll send you a link to one you can get off of Amazon. But he's filmed a couple movies. But I think he's got like 5 feature films, and he is his name is Keith Boynton, and he lives up in Connecticut. And he is like, you know what? He's like looking for something different. I mean, COVID probably changed him a little bit. And he is like, I want to work and design something. So we're going to start the WFI, which is a Wilderness Film Intensive, where GAP kids, high school graduates, can do the whole process in making a feature film. So he'll have the script like rough draft out, and then they'll find actors, they'll find locations, they'll get sets together, they'll get costumes together, which we obviously have all that stuff in our wheelhouse. Yep. That's like what we do. And they'll film, they'll edit, they'll do everything and make a feature film, and then they'll actually try to distribute it and get it out there. And what's neat is all of the students who sign up will be part owners of this film. Like if the film ever made money, the kids could potentially all make money off this film. And of course, what theme do you think we're sticking with? Come on.
Spooks. Halloween.
The
Fright Fest.
I know. I mean, it's sad. So
that is your wheelhouse.
That is our wheelhouse. We're like, well, listen, we got a lot of fake blood on hand.
A lot of spooky things.
Yeah, I'm
missing eyeballs.
The weird thing is I'm not a horror guy, and I talked to Keith the other day, and he's like, well, it'll be like more like a thriller, and I'm like, good, because I don't, which is weird enough that the Markoffs don't like horror movies, yeah. And we're into, I'm more into a thriller than I would be a horror movie.
You got to see. There's another movie for you. The Wailing.
Is it a horror movie?
It's South Korean. Mm-hmm. Like South Korean, I think they're known for their thriller / horror genre, and it is freaky. It's more thriller.
Okay.
It's more. It makes you think.
Yeah.
It's not like a slasher horror deal. Yeah. But I put something out on Facebook last October. I'm like,
I remember you're doing all your the film reviews. Correct. I love that.
I love watching and writing.
Yeah.
But I'm like, give me your favorite like Halloween movies or scary thriller, whatever it is, And my buddy Christian Sanson, who I need to get him on this podcast
tomorrow.
I got
you got to get me out of there so you get somebody else in.
That seat's getting hot over there. But anyway, he came to me with this movie. That's the one of I watched probably 15 horror movies in October.
Really?
And that's the one that just is
totally stuck with you.
Oh my God! You got it. The Wailing.
Okay, that's fine, but I don't want
stinking good.
I don't want a movie to stick with me that like upsets me.
No, it didn't upset me. It's not like I don't have nightmares about it. You know what I'm saying? It just it makes you think.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah,
it really makes you think, and it's deep. Yet it's like it is freaky.
Yeah, good. No, I'm gonna give it a shot. I'm not.
You're not a huge screen guy.
Obviously I love it, but sometimes I don't want to get too disturbed. You know what I did watch?
What do you mean?
I don't like. I don't like being upset.
Yeah,
and I'm like there's so much like watching the news,
the clown movies and stuff.
Oh, I'm just saying in life. I just think like I would like to surround myself by good,
like being stoked.
I like being stoked.
2021 year of stokified.
Yeah, sure. I just like there's so many things that just like kind of. I mean, I know that sometimes it's maybe a tactic of like ignorance is bliss, and like if I don't know about it, then life is all good and I'm happy, and and I don't know that that's like a healthy thing, but I also just like there's so many good things going out there. I don't think they get enough publicity, the news, and everything like that.
Good stories don't make news,
Yeah. Have you seen? So like the show that I'm like the greatest show I think ever on TV is that Ted Lasso. Have you seen it?
No.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, hey, you're not a big screen guy.
I can't recommend anything.
You can't come at me and say,
no. Well, listen, you seem
Ted Lasso.
Ted Lasso. It is a feel-good, funny, hysterical, thoughtful.
It's a TV show.
It's a TV show. It's got that Jason Sudeikis in it.
I'm looking him up.
Right? And it is. I'm going to tell you right now, I watched it, and then I was like, even though it was a little inappropriate, I'm like, I'm going to watch this with my son because it's just like good messaging, right?
The guy with the mustache?
Yeah, and it is, I will tell you, the best show I've ever seen on TV. Hands down. Because it makes you feel good. You're happy.
Jason Sudeikis.
Yeah, it is hysterical. He's a coach.
Follows U.S. American football coach Ted Lasso heading to UK to manage a struggling London football team.
It's amazing.
And the top flight of English football.
Listen, if you don't have anything for the rest of the day, we could just binge watch it right now. I'll stick around for the next 12 hours, and we'll just knock it out because I would watch it probably again. And I am one of those guys that hates all this subscription service to every dang thing you want. So this is what is it? Apple Plus.
Apple Plus.
Well, so Colette, my wife upgraded her phone. She got it free Apple Plus for 6 months, and now I'm like, damn it. Now I got to get. I will probably get Apple Plus, which I'm so sick of every subscription service to everything, and everybody.
You forget you're subscribed.
Totally. Yeah, you have no idea. And I'm like, where's all my money?
It's a slow drain.
Yeah. I'm like, every TV show, everything's got a subscription, and now I'm like, when I talk to people, I'm like, okay, what should I get? Is there something what are my options?
What are you talking about? What
subscriptions. I don't know. But now I feel like I have to get Apple Plus because I am the biggest champion of this damn Ted Lasso.
Ted Lasso.
I know. And I want to support it because I think it's fine. I want to
So we got on Ted Lasso because
TV.
You're saying you don't like being upset.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's too much good, and I agree.
I'm right now. Fro is upsetting me.
I keep looking over at Fro.
Fro's. Is it Afro or Fro?
I mean, I like Fro better.
Yeah, we had a staff named Fro that used to work for us, and that's what I'm thinking about right now.
You're the king of the nickname, aren't
you? We had one school program where we would have these organic nicknames that kids would get all the time, and you go backpacking with them, and you're in the woods, and everybody gets a nickname, and one year we came back and maybe half of the students had nicknames.
Yeah.
And the school was upset with us. And they're and so the next year they gave us all these name collars, dog tags.
Yeah.
And we needed to come up with a nickname for each kid. So they all had nicknames. And so
initially they were upset.
They were upset that some people got them and some people didn't. So you had the kids that didn't get nicknames. And it was all so organic. But then after that it was oh boy!
Now
we got to come
under pressure.
We got to come up with a nickname for this kid.
Yeah,
and
you zap the creative juice.
Yeah, it was hard. We're like, and then it's it felt like, oh, this is tough. But you understand, it's but not all the nicknames were, this one kid, he didn't go to the bathroom all week during camp, during outdoor week, and so we fed him a whole bag of apricots, to get him to poop, and so then we called him Abe. His name was Abe, and we called him Apricot or something like that, and
Apricot,
yeah, and so I don't know if all the nicknames are missing that good.
It's funny how I used to teach first grade PE. And I come up with nicknames and then everyone wants a nickname.
Yeah.
These first graders.
Yeah.
And I think I don't know how old these kids were. How old were they?
5th graders, 6th graders, something like that.
That too. Even in fifth grade, you're like, I want a nickname.
Yeah.
It's like, oh man. The first couple were.
You ever have a nickname?
Organic. Not really. No.
Really?
At Mater Dei, Ned always called me G-Man.
G-Man. Simple right there. No nicknames. I would think that you guys are that old school, boys will be boys.
What
nicknames.
They call you? You have a nickname?
I never had one, sadly. I mean, it is weird. I feel like sometimes maybe those that give nicknames don't get nicknames. I don't know.
I think that's right. There's something to that.
Maybe. I don't know. My dad is a huge he's given nicknames to I mean, there are people that I don't even know their real names to, and it's all because of Chief, has done it, and in the 80s, and I'm and I don't even know their real names. Yeah. We had this guy that worked for us who's our surfing instructor, And I mean, he was like 50 years old. He ran our surfing school.
Yeah.
Greatest guy ever. He was on my dad's football team, and we just called him Mogo. And I'm like, I just called him Mogo my whole. And he worked. I mean, he actually then worked at Calleva, and we just called him Mogo. I didn't know idea what his Mogo was, and he was like, one year I worked at your old man's camp, and he called me Mother Goose. So I'm Mogo because
Mother Goose.
Yeah, and I was like, that's where it came from. He's like, yeah, and I'm like, still to this day, he moved to California, and you text him, you're like Mogo. It's kind of. Nicknames
are great.
They are
so fun.
It's weird though because you guys are all like last name. You guys very much. I've told you. I think that when I heard your podcast, you remind me so much. That remember me telling you. I think actually before you even started podcasting, I said you sound quite a bit like. You ever listen to Spittin' Chicklets? Are you a hockey fan?
I looked them up. I remember when you brought it up. I looked them up. I'm not a huge hockey fan. No.
Yeah. But you guys are.
Yes.
You guys are very much like I love hockey, and so you guys are very much like Garrett. Everybody's going by their last name, G-Man, Matt, and then you guys call me Matty. Yeah. Nobody calls me Matty. I love it. I'm like, hey, Matty. Yeah. And that's how I feel like like Wilson's obviously like Willie. Like everybody's got like that kind of that nickname, but you very much. I like when I hear your voice. I'm like, oh my gosh, that dude's like I don't know. So you sound like somebody,
exactly.
I was watching the hockey game last night though, and my wife was like,
Caps?
Yeah, the Caps. Like there was like fights like crazy. I don't know if you saw. It was insane. There was like in the first, so right when the puck dropped, 3 fist fights. In the first 5 minutes, there were 6 fights.
Oh my god.
Well, anyway, I'm like watching this game, and my wife's like, the coach for the Rangers looks like Benedict Cumberbatch. And so now the whole time I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy's Benedict Cumberbatch. I'm like, so I got a nickname for him if I ever like hang in his circle.
That's right. Hey, Benedict.
Yeah, Benny.
Hey, Benny.
Hey, Benny.
Come on over here.
Well, it's funny because just like this week, we had this new guy that we were at this cheat race in West Virginia this weekend, and this guy comes in, and his name is Jesse, and we have this other Jesse who you probably worked with in the past who works for us, and she's like, and so then there's this other Jesse, and there's always seems to be multiple Jessies, and so she's like, oh my goodness, there's another Jesse now, and everybody's like, oh, this is good because he'll just be boy Jesse and your girl Jesse, and like nothing. I was like, and this guy has the most beautiful lashes and eyes. I'm like, he's like, it's almost like he's a doll,
Yeah.
And so I was like, we're gonna call him Lashes. And then somebody and it's like I just met her for like 10 minutes, and I'm like, Lashes. Your name is Lashes. The poor kid. I mean, it might not stick, but I'm just like, I can't let Jessie Harrelson now not have her name because this new guy comes in and has the same name. I don't like it.
No, yeah, exactly.
I don't like it one bit.
No.
Nobody can have multiple names. Can't have it.
We're more creative than that.
Totally.
I
think we had one guy at Calleva. We had 2 names of somebody very important. And I was like, listen, one of you guys are going to get fired because I can't have 2 of these names. So you guys got to outperform each other, and we'll see who's going to get tossed by the end of the
leg wrestle.
Yeah, it's a talking competition, and then you're gone. So maybe that's how it has to happen. I don't know.
Yeah, you do. So anyway.
So hold on.
We're going.
Are you running a camp?
I don't know yet.
How many more podcasts are you going to podcast all summer?
Yeah, I'm not.
You're not going to stop.
Nah, I love doing it.
It's fun, right?
I love hearing people's stories. I love hearing why people do what they do. Why they like what they like.
Yeah, and it's been fun, like actually
and
getting.
People are interested. I mean, it's human stories like that. People want to hear.
Oh, definitely.
Talk about like good. Well, we need more good stories out there instead of bad stories. So
yeah, but I feel like that you've had all positive podcasts. It's actually been fun, like kind of getting to know the other side of you, like listening to your mom and your sister and stuff like that, and these kids on it. It's fun. Like it's fun to see. Like I actually like that you have the children on it. And it's kind of like a neat little.
Got some more former students coming on.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah, different perspectives.
You thinking about coaching still or no?
Yeah. I'm coaching first grade lacrosse right now.
Really? Can first graders play lacrosse?
I think that's a really good point. Like you can barely even catch a ball with your hands. So here's a stick. Maybe that'll help.
It doesn't. You just gave them a weapon. That's it.
Weaponized them.
Okay, don't hit anybody.
Like we're like playing a drill with like 3 kids, and behind me they're playing like Zorro.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't. Sure, why not? I can't blame them.
That's too funny.
It's Debbie's brother's name's Greg. And he is a first grader. And he started coaching this spring. I was like, I can help you. So we were out there yesterday. beautiful day.
The weather has
Perching
turned.
them up.
I love it.
I love this.
I know. I'm not like in 1 month. I'm gonna be miserable.
When like a couple days ago, when it was like 80 and humid, I'm like, come on, man.
Yeah.
You
know what?
I dislike heavily. I would rather have cold and fire than
I'm definitely. I'm gonna.
I would
rather
have cold and fire than like June, July, August heat.
Yeah.
No.
Well,
Humidity,
that's why you need to get on the Potomac. That's why everybody in the DC area, because the humidity stinks.
Yeah.
And the best thing to do is be able to get in the water. And like when you're paddling, you're
Just
like
embrace the wet.
Yeah, and just be like, oh, I'm hot, flip over, get wet, back on.
Yeah,
You know, it's nice.
yeah.
Except for like August, that Potomac River becomes like a bathtub.
Yeah.
Like a dirty bathtub.
Yeah.
And you're like, it doesn't even refresh you at some point.
Yeah.
That's
That's bad when it's that warm.
Yeah. I was actually this weekend blown away because my brother was talking to somebody. They went fishing on the Savage River. You ever been up on the Savage River? Yeah. He went fishing up there, and he like met this guy that used to work the dam up there. And Alex, my brother, was like, well, why do you when you open and release the dam for the water, why do you do that? And they're like, well, we are paid by the city of Baltimore and the city of Frederick, and when they need drinking water, we turn on the water. And I'm like, does it go in a pipe and go like to these cities? And he goes, no, it just affects the Potomac River water level. And I'm like my brain could not comprehend that they could release water in the Savage River for like a couple hours, and that will impact the level of the Potomac by anything significant. I'm like, it doesn't even. I can't even. I feel like
Potomac's a huge river.
I know, and the Savage, if you've ever been there, is not that. I'm like still. I'm wondering if like Alex is playing with me, so I sound like an idiot on your podcast.
The Savage
and I'm
feeds
like,
into the Potomac.
Yeah. I mean, like the Potomac is a huge watershed. You know, our new location, the Trough, is on the south branch of the Potomac.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Yeah.
So we're it's like, it's an interesting area, man. The Trough is like, the Trough was named by George Washington. I might have my stories right, but it's like.
So hold on. So where'd you get the Trough name from?
That
was Trough Outfitters? Was that?
No. So the place was called the Trough General Store, right? It was a boat rental place. Right, and the Trough is like this famous section of the Potomac, of the south branch of the Potomac, where like, there's no like roads by it. There's a train track that runs by it, but you kind of are cut off, and you're in this canyon of sorts. It's not a huge canyon. It's not like out west, but it's like a canyon of sorts. Mm-hmm. And they back in the French and Indian War, I guess, like the garrison, George Washington like designed the garrison that was above the Trough, mm-hmm. and then there's like still you can find like an armory on the south end that still stands. And then there was the Battle of the Trough in the French and Indian War. Wow. And the garrison's no longer there on the north side, or not actually on the south side, but on the upstream side of the Trough. And you just go through this paddle, and then you paddle through this gorge. Mm-hmm. And so that's where we are. We're at the takeout of this semi-famous section of the South Branch called the Trough.
And the Trough, Horse's Trough.
Yeah, like everybody's like, what the hell?
That's horses drink out of, right? The Trough.
Yeah, I think it's the shape of it, and that's why it's named. I don't really know the full history of it, but it is like, everybody's like, the Trough, like a pig trough? And I'm like, you know what? We have a lot of pig troughs.
Is it a restaurant?
Yeah, it is, exactly. So, but names are fun.
Names are fun.
Yeah, we were thinking about naming it something else, but we're like, why would we name it anything other than Trough? Because every local is like the Trough.
The Trough. It's already established. Everyone knows the name, so why you shouldn't change it.
Yeah, nobody knows Calleva down there. They're like, who's that? We know the Trough.
You know the Trough, and that's where we'll go.
Exactly.
Good.
Although it's like I had somebody called me up for the Trough. And like they called the West Virginia number, and right when we got it, I just had it forwarded to my number, and the guy was talking to me, and he was trying to figure out what was going on, and I was like, "Oh yeah, we're in Maryland," mm-hmm. And he was like, "What?" And then it ended up that his like brother-in-law worked at Calleva, and he didn't know the two were connected. So it's been interesting to find these people that are finding the Trough and not knowing that know Calleva, but had no idea that we were there.
Yeah.
So
yesterday I had they know the Calleva. Some people know the Calleva name out there, I bet. I had Dave Reese on, and the Kentucky Avenue Band. You should. I'll send you some of his stuff.
Yeah.
You just put their second album. They're awesome.
Are they local?
They're local.
Or Kentucky?
They're local.
Oh, really? We're always looking for bands.
Dave Reese. Yeah, I'll connect you to.
live music at the farm.
He has 3 boys. I taught all 3 of his sons.
Really?
His youngest is in 7th grade right now.
And he's still talking to you.
Got 2. Yeah, right. Is something okay?
I didn't come in here and all of your stuff is on the side. The Elvis pictures down.
He's a rugby player. He's a big dude.
Really?
The windows are all intact. No
I think you
broken
can hold
windows.
your own.
So he was like, yeah, we're out in West Virginia doing something out there, and he's like, they know us out here. They've heard of our band out here.
That's neat.
Yeah, it is neat.
What kind of is like bluegrass?
It's bluegrass country.
Oh man, we need him for like one of our like events out at the farm.
You do.
So we've had some amazing live bands in our past.
You guys would get along well.
Yeah. Not if he's a big rugby player.
You don't like rugby?
No, I'm scared of them a little bit. You know? So all these big guys.
Never met a normal rugby player. Hey, you're I wouldn't take.
You know what's interesting?
Normal
Do you know that on Martinsburg Road, he probably knows where we are because we have one of our neighbors like holds rugby like games. Really? They have like a whole field that's lit with like huge lights and everything.
Holy
like
smokes.
Every now and then it's like packed with like hundreds of cars. And I mean I'm not in that rugby world, but I'm like obviously, you know, the rugby world knows about this place and they all come here and they play and it's like a big field. And it's the strangest thing. There's like sometimes you just go, what? Right around the, and it, you know.
Yeah.
Right
driving down the road, you don't expect for there to be a festival.
Yeah, like coming to your house, I'm like, oh man, you're right next door to one of our old staff.
Is that right?
Yeah, it kind of blows me away.
Cool.
And then like, you know, like that Ridgewell, that purple, like that catering service. I think they're right in your neighborhood, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Susan Laz.
Yeah. Well, so our old staff lives right across the street from her.
In this neighborhood.
Well, Ridgewell, right? Aren't they right in here?
She used to live a couple streets over. She moved out of the neighborhood.
Okay. Well, the couple streets over is where I was.
Who is that?
Karen Seibert.
Interesting.
She used to run all of our scouting programs.
How old is she?
50, something like that. Yeah.
He's like, yeah.
I don't think she ever worked for Mater Dei or how many years did we do the Mater Dei program? Do you know?
You started it probably like 14 years ago.
Can I tell you my favorite story before we end this thing?
Shoot.
Because you're a big guy. Like, you know, you're a little intimidating, you know. And I kind of think of all of like, you know, all of the Mater Dei staff are all like jocks, you know. And, you know, we're all a bunch of like tree hugging, you know, we're, you know, you guys could beat us all down if it, you know, it comes. Well, anyway, it's like, I think it was like one of the first years you guys were all sleeping up in the treehouse.
Oh my God.
And listen, I mean, I'm only saying this because I think that this makes you a more well-rounded man, just so you know. Okay.
Yeah.
But so all the teachers, and this is like our first year, I think it might have been our first year working with you, and you guys are all sleeping in the treehouse. And so we kind of decided to get all of our staff and get in costume, and we walk down, like, you know, part of the farm has this, you know, is our Halloween stuff. So we all got into costume. You know what I'm talking about, right?
I know the story.
So we all get in costume and we put on face makeup and we get all of our chainsaws, you know, and we climb up into the treehouse, and all of you guys are asleep, like out cold.
Matt Fisher
was on it.
I think he took like an Ambien and he was just like in the top bunk. Like,
I mean, it was. You also had like some guy whose like uncle was Corbett.
Oh yeah, that's Keegan, Jimmy Keegan.
Jimmy Keegan. That was
me, Dugan, Keegan, and Fisher.
Okay, so you guys are all up there. And we're like, we're going to scare the crap out of these boys. And they're all big guys, you know. Yeah. And so we get up there and we're in costume. I'm not even kidding you. One of us was wearing stilts.
You were.
I think it might have been me. I can't remember. But
I don't know how you got up those stairs.
I don't know either. But it was like, you know, it's they're like drywall stilts. You know?
Oh, yeah.
That's only because if we were going to throw down, I wanted to be at least the same height as you.
Striking down.
Yeah, exactly. So we get above you guys and we rip open these chainsaws and we stinking rev those chainsaws and we get up and I mean, listen, I thought that you would be throwing fists, but you picked up your pillow and you were swinging your pillow. And I was like, listen, should I get in my underwear and we're going to have a pillow fight? Because I don't know what's going on here. But there were pillows being swung like to save you. And I was like, man, your natural instinct was to reach for a pillow. That's all I'm saying.
Did you? Is that the real story?
I mean, listen, I could be embellishing it. We could all put it on Dugan. Or wait, listen, Fisher. He's right? He was a piano player. He was soft. It might have been him, but somebody was swinging a pillow to save themselves, and it was. I was
deep in sleep, and I wake up to the one chainsaw, maybe two.
Yeah.
And you're on stilts. I was like, what the.
Yeah,
I think I recoiled back in the corner, maybe grabbing a pillow.
Yeah.
In one hand, like my fist in the other, thinking the pillow's like a shield or something.
Well, we pranking is definitely
That's
some
part
fun
of
stuff.
It's part of the program.
So when we did this trough thing, I met our neighbor down in West Virginia, and I was like, "So which house is yours?" So I know which one to prank. And he was like, "You prank my house, you'll get shot." And like he was dead serious.
West Virginia.
Yeah, bro. And I was like. I was cracking a joke, but then it sobered me really quickly. I was like, we're not going to play that game.
Already then.
Yeah. He's not coming after me with a pillow.
Right, exactly. It's not going to be a pillow.
No,
no,
definitely
a pillow full of lead.
Exactly. He's like, we don't do that down here.
We don't do that down here.
I was like, oh, well, this is what we do in Montgomery County.
This is going to be an interesting partnership here. Man.
Exactly.
It's the beginning of interesting relationship.
Oh, man. Yeah. So,
any parting words?
Last
remarks.
No, I'm excited to get you out on the river.
Yeah, man.
And I'm excited for you and your next step, man.
Buddy. Thank you, buddy.
I'm like, let's get outdoors now. I've been on most of my friends. I'm always like, get your kids outside, and I'm always like on there, like you didn't have any kids, but I'm like, go camping with your kids, go skiing with your kids, do it all while they're young, and it's like the best thing you can do.
And you have the opportunity now. I mean, you've had the opportunity for the last year. There's no real excuse not to be outside.
Totally. And now that you got like I'm like today I came in, I'm like, come out and take your kid horseback, get them horseback riding, get them outside and doing it, and that's like kind of it's kind of easy. I mean, the great thing about where I work is just like. It's pretty simple. Yeah. That's like a simple and like so important thing is just to be outside. And like right now, especially with COVID, you're like being trapped indoors, being in front of screens and computers.
On podcasts and things.
Getting to on podcasts. But actually I'm a podcast listener outdoors. You just put the AirPods in and you go.
AirPods are sweet.
Oh, it's so nice. And go kayaking. In fact, this race I did the other day, there was somebody that was in the race and they had AirPods in, and it's a big river. And my brother actually was like, "You gonna wear AirPods?" And she goes, "I'm not gonna flip," and she didn't. I'm like, man, if I were AirPods, they would be gone in the water. So
they ain't cheap.
Yeah, they ain't cheap. I'm not. I'm always like sporting one AirPod because one's missing. And
there's one. It still works.
It still works. But get outdoors.
Get outdoors.
And you need to get out. Like I'd like to see you on the river. And you're an old man, so 7 o'clock this winter.
SYOTR.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember like Trophy was pulling out of Mater Dei.
Yeah.
One time, like early in his career, maybe before kids, BC, and he had his red kayak on the top of his like 4Runner, and it's like maybe like 2:45, and we end at 3, and Murchie's standing right there, and he's like, SYOTR. It's like it's good.
Yeah, you know what? I think it was Trophy. I was just yelling at him. Yeah, I think it was Trophy. I was just saying, come on. He's like, I haven't been in a boat in so long. I'm like, dude, get out.
It's like riding
your kids. I mean, that I think if you get him out, I mean, I kind of think I messed up a little bit because my oldest didn't want to paddle, got kind of scared paddling early, and so I didn't force it on him. My other kids, they're like, no, Dad, I don't want to go. I'm like, tough. Get out there and boat. And I made him run. I'm bribing like crazy. I'm like, I'll buy you this if you go do paddle this with me. But I'm just like, I feel like
that's your number one. You love paddle. You love being on the water.
No, I actually like just camping.
You like camping,
but I like I think that if you can get your kids out the most you could and do it with them, I think that's like the greatest thing. So I have my high school buddy. I'm like, I showed him that picture of in the trough. I was like, we're gonna climb this because I used to climb in high school with him, and now he's he's big, lazy, and doesn't want to do that physical stuff. And I go, dude, get your butt out there and you're gonna climb it. And he's like, my shoulder. I'm like, I don't care. I'll pull you up to climb. But I'm like, you don't have to be good. Just do it and do it with your kids. I'm like, I'm gonna take your kids. I'm gonna take you, and you better do it. And he's like, no. I'm like, man, we did this in high school.
Yeah.
What the hell happened to us?
What has happened?
What happened?
Yeah.
You got to get out there and do it. So
like inside every old person, there's like a young voice screaming, "What the hell happened?"
Oh man, more than ever.
Yeah.
Have you heard them yet or no?
Have I heard what?
Have you heard the screaming or no?
I hear. Yeah.
Really?
You always got to hear the screaming.
I don't think that. I think that you've been like.
It's more of like not necessarily like it's more of like a inspiration.
Okay.
You know, it's a good voice.
Yeah, but have you felt like
stay young?
Have you slowed up or no?
No,
I don't think you have.
no.
I mean, I feel like
I
you're
was just running right before you got here.
Yeah.
I still run every day. I mean, I'm not as active like at school coaching and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I'm more unfortunately sedentary, but that's gonna change.
We do too many podcasts.
Changing soon.
Do too many podcasts, man. You're gonna be a big guy in that chair. You know what I'm saying? We should have a standing desk and with like treadmills on it, stuff like that, right? So we're like working. I feel like that'd be more your style.
Podcast in the park.
Yeah, podcast in the park. We're on the
Going
move.
for a stroll.
We're talking. Yeah, we'll hear like. What just happened?
I don't know. I think we're good.
Are we?
We're good. There might be like a loose connection with it. But anyway, thank you for coming out.
Oh, of course.
Thank you for being here. Thanks for being a good friend.
It's really good seeing you. Hopefully, I'll see more of you.
See each other a couple times a year, but when we do, it's fun.
Yeah,
it works. We connect.
Well, we have lots of opportunities for you to come out.
Amen. Thank you for saying it.
And do that.
Thank you for saying it. And you're. I've told you this before, and the people that work for you and at Calleva, you guys are an inspiration.
Well, thank you.
And just like the way you live your life and the way you do quote. I'd say quote business, but it's a lifestyle. You know.
Yeah.
You do it right. I'm always invigorated.
Yeah. Well, my wife tells me to get a real job. So
hey, it's working. We're eating. We're not starving, honey. You know, we got 16-inch walls.
Exactly. We got 16-inch, 17-inch walls.
But anyway, yeah, you get it. But thanks for being here.
Hey, anytime.
And,
thank you.
We'll hang soon.
All right, good.
SYOTR.
SYOTR.
All right, bro.